All right, let's talk about SEO, but not in that super technical, jargon-filled way you're probably used to. Today, we're looking at SEO as a core business strategy. Really, it's the thing that decides whether or not your customers can even find you in this incredibly crowded digital world. I mean, really think about that for a second. You could have the absolute best product on the market, but if you're invisible when someone goes to search for what you sell, do you even exist? This isn't just a marketing problem, it's a fundamental business challenge.
And that's exactly where SEO comes into play. At its heart, it's not some kind of mysterious dark art. It's really just a system for building a bridge between your business and the people who are, right this second, looking for exactly what you do. It's about showing up the moment that demand is born.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll demystify what SEO actually is. Then, we'll peek under the hood at how search engines work. We'll break down the three big pillars of any good strategy, talk about the huge role of trust, and then look at what this all means now that AI is changing the game. Think of it as the high-level briefing every leader needs.
Okay, let's dive right in. What are we really talking about when we say SEO? Let's just push all the technical stuff aside for a minute and focus on what it means for the business. The whole game is about getting seen in the organic search results, the unpaid ones that are ranked by the search engine's algorithm, not the ones that say ad next to them. And why does that matter so much? Because we all know that people inherently trust those results more. And that trust, that's the very beginning of a customer relationship. But look, if you want to show up in those results, you've got to understand the machine that builds them. Search engines like Google seem impossibly complex, but they really just follow a pretty straightforward three-step process to make sense of the entire internet.
So first, little bots crawl the web, discovering all the pages and content out there. Then they index it all, which is like organizing it into a giant digital library. And finally, when you type something in, they rank everything in that library to give you the most helpful answer. The whole goal of SEO is to make your website a star performer at every single one of those stages. So how do you do that? How do you actually become a star performer? Well, it all comes down to a strategy built on three core pillars. If you get these right, you're not just doing SEO, you're building a rock-solid foundation for your entire online presence. So pillar number one is on-page SEO. This is everything you do on your own website. Think of it as making sure your site speaks clearly to both search engines and people. It's about labeling things properly so there's no confusion about what you're offering. This is the stuff you have 100% control over. And this right here is a perfect, simple example. Look at that page title. It's not just Brandon's cards. It's Brandon's baseball cards, buy cards, baseball news, card prices. Right away, it tells Google and any potential customer exactly what's on this page. It's about baseball cards, you can buy them, and you can find news and prices. So simple, but so powerful.
Okay, pillar number 2, off-page SEO. Now, if on-page SEO is what you say about yourself, off-page SEO is all about what the rest of the internet says about you. This is about building your reputation, your authority, and your trustworthiness across the web. And this shows the biggest piece of that puzzle. See how that blog linked to Brandon's website? In the eyes of a search engine, that link is basically a vote of confidence. It's another site vouching for you, saying, hey, this content over here is legit and valuable. The more high-quality votes you get, the more authoritative you start to look. And that brings us to our third and final pillar, technical SEO. Honestly, you should think of this as the foundation that the other two are built on. Because if your site is slow, if it's broken, if it's confusing for search engines to crawl, all that great content and all those votes of confidence won't matter nearly as much. A huge part of this now is something Google calls core web vitals. Now, don't worry about all the acronyms. All you need to know is that these are measuring the actual experience a person has on your site. They ask really simple questions like, how fast does the important stuff load? If I click on a button, does it respond right away? And does the page jump around while it's loading? This isn't just techie stuff. It's a direct measure of how professional your site feels. Okay, this all leads to a really important question. One I think every leader should be asking. With all this talk about optimization, are we just learning how to game the system, or are we actually creating real value? Well, there's some fascinating research on this. A study back in 2022 found something pretty revealing. Sometimes content that's really well optimized can actually rank higher than better quality content that isn't optimized. It's a stark reminder that just being the expert isn't always enough to get noticed. So here's the big takeaway for your business.
SEO is the tool that gets you seen. It gets you in the game. But visibility alone isn't the goal. The real long-term win comes from pairing that visibility with genuine quality and expertise. One without the other is a losing strategy.
And that balance is more critical than ever when we look at the massive shift that's happening right now. AI. With tools like ChatGPT and Gemini, the whole game is changing. We're moving from a list of blue links to a single direct answer. This has spawned a whole new discipline, generative engine optimization, or GEO. And what is that? Well, it's the practice of optimizing your content not just to show up in a list, but to become the actual source material that an AI uses to create its answer.
This shift in strategy here is massive. With old school SEO, the goal was always to get the click. You wanted someone to choose your link. With GEO, the goal is to be the answer. The user might not even visit your website, but your information, your brand, is presented as the authority. But here's the secret, the most important thing to remember about this new world. The fundamentals haven't really changed. How do these AI models learn? They learn from the web as it already exists. That means all the things that make for good SEO, clear structure, high-quality content, strong signals of authority, are the exact same things that will position you to be a trusted source for AI. So let's wrap this up. Here's what to remember for your next strategy meeting. SEO isn't just marketing fluff. It's a direct connection to your customers right when they need you. Real success comes from getting those 3 pillars right: on-page, off-page, and technical. Your ultimate weapon isn't a trick. It's the trust you build with real quality. And looking ahead, the future is all about becoming the authority that AI relies on. And that really leaves us with one final big question. As the internet changes from a library of links into an engine of answers, the strategic question is no longer just how do we rank, it's how will we prove that we are the most trustworthy source in our entire field? That is the real challenge and opportunity ahead.